Hello, Devlin Bishop here with you, and welcome to another edition of Devlin's Pirate Radio Show. And I am here again, and I have got another co-host with me, and I'm always excited about that. You know I love to just talk myself, but it's always nice to get a breather and get someone else in. Today's guest is somebody I've only known a short time, but I don't know, we've kind of had quite a journey in that time, I would say. This is no surprise to him, but when I first met him, I honestly don't know if I liked him at all. And along the way, we kind of got to know each other, and I think of this guy as family now. He was somebody I met during the Target years, which will be known. And as I said, I consider him really close now, so that's a good way to remember that you might not like somebody at first, but give them a chance, because it might happen. Anyhow, I am here with my good friend, Damian Trautmann.
Thank you very much for having me. I'm very excited.
Are you?
Well, yeah, I would say so. I'm always been interested in this sort of thing.
So you have listened to the podcast?
I've listened to quite a few episodes. Yeah, I really enjoy what you do with it.
That's good. I don't usually put people on the spot, because I think I've had guests that have never listened to it, but for you, your family, I get to break your balls once in a while.
Oh, well, please don't touch them. They're very sensitive.
Oh, Lord, that's too much information too fast.
Well, you know me. I like to just hit it right on the nose as soon as we get going.
Absolutely. I'm glad you wanted to do this. I wanted to ask you, but I didn't know if you really wanted to come on, but I should have known, because you like to talk and stuff, and just handle it like we normally do. Well, a little better. Treat me a little with more respect than you normally do. Well, I'm kidding.
I won't hit you around or anything like that now. I'll keep the insults to very minimum.
Yes, keep them for in the breaks and the thing, because now, so I'm going to interview you here, which is always weird, because I tend to know most of the people I have on here, but full of surprises and stuff. Where were you born? Where were you brought up?
Why do you want to know?
Because I'm interviewing you, and that's what I'm doing. It's not me, it's out there, but I'd probably get it wrong anyhow. I know it's not Hamilton.
I was born, well, of course I wasn't born in Hamilton. Who would want that?
Oh, Lord, he's starting already.
I was born in the greatest city in the world, Toronto, on the 1st of March, 1991.
We didn't say your birthday. You just dated yourself
now. You know, yeah. I'm a nice, young 24-year-old, vibrant in his youth.
When this is on YouTube in 60 years, you're going to be like,
I will still look like I'm at least 16, I guarantee you.
I sadly agree with you, and I'll look old. And you were brought up in Toronto, or?
I was raised there for 14 years, then I moved to Oakville, which was very, very boring, unless you have a lot of money. And even then, it's still really boring.
And, it was just you and your mom for the longest time, right?
Yeah, it was my mom and I. Pretty much right up until the end, I stayed in Toronto, and then she met someone, got married. That's why we moved to Oakville.
And you got a sibling out of it.
I did. My little sister, Lindsay, she is 8, almost 9. And she's almost as tall as I am, believe it or not. She's huge.
Really?
Yeah. She's really into baseball. She's really strong. I'd say she's kind of got like a bull-headed attitude, which I really like. She's really strong and independent already at the age of 8, which I think is a good kind of platform to boost your life off of.
Absolutely. Now, I always like to ask people what you were like in high school. Because I can't even imagine, because I read you wrong a couple times, so I'm interested. What were you like?
I was a lot of different things in high school. Not all of them I'm really proud of. For anyone listening, I guess, if they know what the term emo is, I portrayed myself as a really big emo kid, which means that I associated myself with all of the dark and depressing things in life. I didn't really want happiness, and this kind of went hand in hand due to the fact that I had really big life-changing events that led me on that path. But I dyed my hair black, I started wearing all black clothes, I really didn't talk to many people. I wasn't shy, I wasn't bullied or anything, because I still stood up for myself, and when needed to, I did speak up for myself and stand my ground, but I wasn't as personable as I am now. I was never really a social person. I kept to myself in my mom's basement. I lived up to that trope, but I was a lot different back then, and it's just I've changed now, but I'm glad I was that person back in high school because it pushed me to be the person I am today. As much as I look back at my old pictures and the way I might have used to make Facebook statuses and be like, oh my goodness, what was I thinking?
Mm-hmm.
But I'm glad I went through that phase.
That's good. Did you go to college after?
I didn't go to college right after. As you know, I did my stint in the military.
And I wanted to talk to you a little bit about that because I know you're very proud of that stint.
I am very proud of it. But
how long were you in the military for?
2 years. 2 years. I did reserves through my high school. We had a co-op program where we joined the reserves. I was assigned to the Royal Hamilton Light Infantry, which was my first taste of Hamilton. Back then I had no idea I was going to eventually be moving to this city, but I did come to this city quite often.
Would you like to insult? So, are you happy with Hamilton?
Not really, but I'm happy for what it's brought me, because I feel moving here, while I don't enjoy the scenery of the city, because it's not as nice as Oakville, obviously. Oakville is way up there on a platform, and then you have Hamilton. But compared to Oakville, Hamilton has made more of an impact on my life, because I've met people like you, I've worked at Target, I've met people that I think I'll be lifelong friends with because of that. I've been in the military here, and then I've also met my lifelong partner, so Hamilton has definitely been one of the best things in my life.
So, why did you leave the military? Because I know military is very important to you.
When I was a kid, I grew up watching war movies, playing war video games, and I was like, that is what I want to do. I want to be a soldier. I want to be the hero, basically. I was the kid that grew up thinking, I'm going to be the one that changes the world. I'm going to be that hero, which is what the media wants you to believe. Like, yes, you are special. You'll be the person to do that. So when I joined the military, that's what I thought. And I started off really strong, really excited, and I did everything. I volunteered to do things. And as the time went on, things in my life started to change, because I joined when I was 16, which is very young.
Mm-hmm.
And I did so with my mom's permission, because that's what you need. And as I went on and my life started to change, I realized the military might not be for me. I was happy that I was doing it. I was glad that I was doing my service. But I realized that in the long run, I would not be doing that as a career, which I was glad to realize, because the people that do it as a career, I have the utmost respect for. They do things on a day-to-day basis that I cannot even imagine. And I just realized that it just wasn't for me. And so I spent my 2 years there, and then I got my discharge, and then I went on my journey.
And then you went to college for a little while and did some odd jobs.
I did, yes. A little bit of a soul-searching journey as I went to college and all those odd jobs, and it eventually led me to Target.
And you speak fondly of Target, so do I. There were lots of bad things, but I think the good outweighed the bad. Do you ever regret? Do you kind of wish you kind of sidelined Target? If I could make that go all away, would you?
No, because Target, like I mentioned, has probably been one of the most significant things in my life. And most people working there, yeah, it was just a job. Yeah, they were just there to make their hours and earn their wage. But for me, not only did I go through so many changes personally there, but I also met so many wonderful people. I met you, I met Taylor, who's now my fiance, I met Gabriella, Heather, all those people. They're my family. And the fact that we all so closely connected with each other, I feel is amazing, because up until that point, and even since then, even though it hasn't been that long, I haven't had a connection like that. And so, while, yeah, Target did have some pretty crappy times, no, I wouldn't put that on the sideline for anything.
Nothing good came of it for me. No, I'm kidding.
Wow, I'm just going to leave right now.
I'm kidding. And I'm going to mention Deborah, because you missed her, and if she thought you missed her, she listens to this. She's coming after you.
Okay, well,
but
Deborah,
I know, didn't mean
to forget Deborah, of course. No, could never forget my favorite Elvis fan.
No, I know. I'm just kidding. The Target years, well, we know I had a harder time dealing with it with most, but, yeah, there's not a lot of people I meet that I usually remember how I met them, but I honestly, with you, remember the exact moment I saw you. Because we were at the hotel doing I never remember the name. I can't remember it.
The orientation.
Orientation. I always say initiation.
It's not a cult.
And I remember you were sitting there, and you were just very quiet, and you were blonder.
Yes,
I
was blonder.
Right.
People don't believe me. I'm actually blonde because I dyed my
I
hair.
know, and I remember you, and I remember thinking not much about it, except that I didn't even know you were on my team. Didn't know anything, but I remember just seeing you there, seeing that you seemed very quiet, maybe a little sad, maybe a little danger. I don't know. I just remember it, and I just have that moment, and then I remember the moment that I thought, oh my God, I don't think I like this guy. But you obviously, that changed, and I hope I had a significant impact. I know I did. I'm not looking for praise here. But I am very happy to have met you, and I hope you feel the same way.
Not at all.
Yes, I didn't think so.
No. You honestly have, like you mentioned at the beginning, you feel like I'm your family. And you have taught me that one of the things I live by that you told me a long time ago was family is who you want, not who you were born into. And I have since lived by that, and you are definitely a part of my family. So.
You're just trying to make me cry.
Well.
I cry over everything. No, thank you for that. And I do feel that way. Anyhow, so Target ended. You're doing really good now. You've moved on. You were one of the first ones out, and you're doing really well for yourself.
Yeah, I have found a new job. I work for, not directly for, but I do represent Bell Canada. And I know a lot of people say Bell is the devil and whatnot, but I enjoy myself there. They're really good people. And
you're kicking ass there.
I'm a little bit modest, as people say.
I know, but I can say it because I can be proud of you.
I'll say this. I am proud of myself and the fact that I've managed to accomplish so much in such a little time there.
That's good. Well, hell, you went on and moved on. I'm still unemployed and just doing a podcast.
Well, that's because you're a hippie.
God, here we go. All right, and you mentioned you were recently engaged. Congratulations on that.
Oh, thank you very much.
And who's the lucky person? I know you mentioned it, but...
The lucky person is my fiancé, Taylor. Like I mentioned, we met at Target, and funny thing is, I was dating somebody else at the time when I first met Taylor. And
we don't have to mention that.
No, we're not going to mention that, don't worry. But yeah, that's just one of the things, again, Target had such a big impact, and it inadvertently led to me being engaged now.
Very cool, and you're excited about it?
Very excited.
He is very lucky to have you, and I wish you all the best. I'm sure I'll be around somewhere in that when it all comes through.
You can be the ring bearer.
I'm busy that weekend.
Wow. Wow. Rude.
So, are your plans with the future just staying with Belle for a bit and just getting on with your life, or do you...
Actually, there are some big changes coming up, and I think I'm going to keep that a little secret right now, but you'll know soon enough.
Uh-oh, you're moving?
No, I'm not moving, but you'll know soon enough.
Okay.
Maybe the viewer or the listeners who will be like, oh, I wonder what he's got planned. But
it's not a cliffhanger, it's just a podcast show.
Well, excuse me. I like to add a little suspense and drama into everything.
Oh, yeah. He's not telling me because it's bad news. I'm telling you right now.
It's not bad news.
For me, it's bad news.
I'm
telling you. He's softening the blow, people. So we got you here for a little bit. We're going to talk about some things you enjoy and I enjoy. We have some things in common, and I thought it'd be fun to talk about that.
Do we have things in common?
A little bit.
I don't think we do.
Well, we're going to be talking about a couple things.
Okay.
For those of you who haven't figured out, Damian and I have a love-hate relationship. We sometimes don't know why we're in it, but we just go along with it. Maybe that's because we call ourselves family. We're at that point.
Yeah. Because with you...
But we don't argue.
Yeah, we don't argue. We have our disagreements and we butt heads sometimes, but I would never say we argue.
No, I don't think so. But if you were real family, you'd, like, not, talk to me or anything for a long time unless there's a holiday coming up. Ooh, I'm going to get burned by my family on that one. And that's how I know I've made it to your family.
And I'd still expect a gift from you.
Of course. For any holiday you can think of.
Well, yeah, you gotta spoil me. I'm a gift to be in your life.
Why are we friends again?
Because you asked me to be.
Oh, that's it. It's all me.
You came to me one day and said, Damian, I like you, be my friend. And I said, I don't know.
I don't see it that way, but if you want to read it that way, that's fine. But you got this big cliffhanger now, so I think I'm just going to push away now and deal with it later in my own way.
In your own way.
Anyhow, we're going to take our first break, and we're going to come back. Jurassic World is heading to theaters soon, and Damian, you might not know, is a big dinosaur fan, and we are going to talk Jurassic Park when we come back. We are back, and I am here with Damian Trautmann. He is my co-host for today, and coming up in theaters is Jurassic World, and it's supposed to be one of the big movies of the summer. And Damian is a huge dinosaur fan, and he loves the Jurassic Park movies, especially the first one. And I just decided we should talk about one of the best movies ever made, because Jurassic Park is certainly one of my favorites. I absolutely adore it. The more I see it, the more I realize how awesome it is. And let's talk dinosaurs. When did your love of dinosaurs happen? I never went through that as a kid.
I can't even remember, to be honest with you. As far back as I can remember, one of my earliest memories, actually, is being in a convenience store somewhere with my mom and seeing the VHS for Jurassic Park. I guess it had just been released on VHS. And I remember the black, and it had the red logo there on the center, and I pointed to it at my mom because I thought it looked really cool. And I was like, can we get that? And one of the few times that she was like, you know what, sure, I'll buy you something. She bought me that movie. I went home and I watched it, and I was a little frightened by it because I was a young kid at the time. But I really enjoyed it, and I believe, if not before that, but definitely during that moment, it cemented my love for dinosaurs.
So Jurassic Park did really kick off your love of dinosaurs.
Absolutely, yes. And then from there, I remember collecting dinosaur books. I remember I used to go to get those little dinosaur bone models, the little miniature ones that you could put together, kind of like how you go into the store, you could buy model planes. I would get the dinosaur ones, put them all together, have them in my room. I had everything dinosaurs, and I had all these action figures that were just dinosaurs. I love them.
I see a lot of young kids that seem to go through a dinosaur phase, girls and boys. I never went through a dinosaur phase. I don't know if we just didn't do that in the 60s, 70s. Well, dinosaurs were around, and we did have our movies, but...
I guess you just didn't have the love for it. You had your love with other things.
I did, but I always thought it was weird that I never went through a dinosaur phase.
Well, I guess it's just, how you were raised, too, because when I was raised, I really didn't have many friends. I didn't get out much, so I watched Jurassic Park, I watched Star Wars, things like that, and those are the things that I fell in love with and that I could grow up and relate to other people with as time went on. I guess you had your disco or your movies.
Yes, at the ripe old age of 10, I was going to the disco.
With your roller skates.
Disco, yes.
Yeah, I've always wanted to go disco roller skating, just so you know.
Did you really?
I've always wanted to try it.
Yeah, well, the dinosaurs we're not talking about are me. We're actually going to talk about real dinosaurs, but thank you for that.
You're very welcome.
Now, earlier this year, I had the pleasure of going to see Jurassic Park at the Zoetic Theater with you. Mm-hmm. They had an early showing, and we went, and I think there was a moment that I absolutely adored. They had a T-Rex roaring competition, and I actually got to see Damian on stage with a whole bunch of kids roaring to compete to see who had the best roar, and I was very impressed. I couldn't have wanted you more than at that moment. Thinking, well, look at him trying to kids' asses
I
to
wasn't
win.
trying. I did kick their asses.
Well, it was a mutual win according to them.
According to them, but they all knew they wanted to give me, but the little kids probably would have
You were
cried.
really good. Would you kill me if I asked for that roar right now? Because I know. Yes, we don't have a real dinosaur in here. That was Damian. No, I thought that was amazing that you went up there. And to be honest with you, when I went to see the Grease sing-along a couple of weeks later, you actually convinced me. Because I remember you went up there. I went in for the costume contest. Because I was dressed up. I wasn't just planning to go there, though. And I said, you know what, if Damian can go up and stand with a bunch of kids. So, you know, that was awesome. You inspired me there to do that. It was great to see with you because we had always talked about how much we liked it, but it was nice to enjoy the experience with you because I get to see the scenes that you like. Is there any particular scene that you absolutely adore in the movie?
Well, I think the scene that everybody really talks about is the main T-Rex attack when they're all in the cars on the road and whatnot. I really enjoy that scene. I love the suspense building up to it and just the fact that that was the first time people were seeing a lifelike dinosaur attack people, and it was scary and it was fun and exciting. But I'm going to have to say my favorite part of the entire movie is honestly when they first get to the island. Not only the wonder of when John Hammond points at it and goes, there it is, and then the music comes in and they're flying there with the helicopter. That just fills me with such excitement. But then when they land and they get in the jeeps and they're driving, when they first see the dinosaur, the Brachiosaurus, walking by, I believe that moment is just so amazing and so special because it, even today, looks so good.
I agree with you. It's a wonderful scene.
And it just fills me every time. I can watch it 100 times repeated, nonstop, and every time I will have my breath taken out of my body because it's just so magical and so exciting.
I think I talked to you about wanting to do a list of some of my favorite scenes, and I think that's an amazing scene. Just the way Spielberg plots it out, how they see. I do like the T-Rex scene, obviously. I just think that's just another magical scene. I've told you this before, but I'm going to share it with our audience. When I first saw Jurassic Park, I saw it at the drive-in. Now, I love the drive-in, but I've always told you people, it's not a great place to see movies. It's the atmosphere. But I went to see Jurassic Park, and I remember coming out thinking, so what? It wasn't that great and stuff. The T-Rex scene is totally at night, so you don't see any of that. Like, you see bits and pieces. About a week later, I actually went to see it again in theaters, because I thought, I must be missing something. People are raving about this movie, and it's okay. And it was like I watched a totally different movie, and it blew me away, and I couldn't believe how different that was. Now, you went to the theater when they brought it out in 3D.
Yes, I did.
Did you enjoy the 3D conversion?
I did enjoy it, but what I noticed things like Avatar, like when 3D was first coming out, that was really good 3D. That was made really well, but I feel like they just kind of tacked the 3D onto Jurassic Park to just do it for the sake of getting more money, to be quite honest, because I wasn't really all that impressed with the 3D.
No, there was some parts that looked good, but I thought it was rather murky.
Yeah.
But I wanted to give it a chance, but I felt it was all overcast because you were wearing the thing. And I don't want to feel old again, and I know you know this, but you do realize 3D was around in the 50s.
Yeah, you had the red and blue glasses.
It was horrible 3D. And I was not around in the 50s, just to make that clear. But I read about movies.
Well, we're talking about dinosaurs. We might as well dig up your past.
Leave my bones alone. Yeah, I wasn't impressed by the 3D. Now, I can't remember. I don't think Jurassic World's in 3D.
I think it's 2D.
Is it? Yeah, I don't think so, which just surprises me, since you'd think they would have gone with that. But I'm kind of glad, because I'd go see the 2D probably.
I'm glad that it's not 3D as well, because I feel obviously 3D costs more money, and this way, I know people right now are talking about the trailer that they've seen for Jurassic World, and they're like, oh, the graphics don't look as good. But the trailer is just a trailer. The graphics aren't finished yet.
Right.
When the finished product comes out, you're going to see all the effort they put into it, and the dinosaurs are going to look great, guaranteed. But I feel like if they had made it 3D, then maybe it wouldn't have looked so good. So I'm glad
Now, we're
they
just
didn't go
guessing. It might actually be 3D, but I don't think it is.
I don't think so either. I hope not. I'm hoping.
But you usually have a choice. They do have
Yes.
2D and 3D showings. Are you excited about this? Because when I first heard they were going back to Jurassic Park, I wasn't. And then I saw the first couple trailers and was blown away by it.
I am excited because even though, and you know this, but Jurassic Park 3 is not my favorite of the trilogy.
No.
It goes in order, 1, 2, and 3. And then,
Not for me.
well, we'll leave that for another.
Yes.
But every time I watch Jurassic Park, the original, I always, at the end of the movie, I always think, oh, how cool would this have been if they had managed to actually have the park up and running. That is someplace that I would want to go. That I would save up however much money it was to go visit this island. And the premise of Jurassic World being the fact that, yes, they actually have the park up and running. Obviously, from the trailer, we know things are going to go bad. But the premise of it all is just really tantalizing to me because it's something that I've always wanted to, and it's always been a dream of mine. And you could have dinosaurs with guns in space with helmets on. I'd still be excited.
Well, hopefully they don't do that yet, because we're not ready for that. Now, going back to the original Jurassic Park, you are a huge fan. I have to bring this up, because I have never met someone who dedicates his entire life to this man. Okay, I'll maybe admit much. You are a huge Ian Malcolm fan, which for those of you who aren't dinosaur nerds was the guy Jeff Goldblum played in the movie, who is the chaos theorist.
Everything's chaos.
Now, why do you love this character?
I love him because...
Then I'll give my theory.
I love him because he's different. And my entire life, I always viewed myself as different. And most of the time, my favorite character, when I say that character is my favorite character, is because I see myself most in them. Now, if you watch the movie, Ian Malcolm, he's the most charismatic. He's a little weird, of course, but who isn't weird? I mean, let's be real. But he's charismatic, he's funny, he's awkward, and he's an all-around good guy. I mean, he put his life on the line to save Lex and Tim from the car by distracting the T-Rex. That's brave. And a lot of people just throw that out the window and don't remember that fact about him, but he is a good guy.
Well, some think he was just comic relief.
I don't think so, because if you analyze the movie, he does play a major portion in it, because he realizes, he gets on Alan's nerve, who's played by Sam Neill. Yeah. He gets on Alan's nerves, which makes Alan jaded about the whole experience. And then, when Alan sees the dinosaurs, he falls out of that jaded experience. But then he remembers, as it goes along, all the things that Ian Malcolm says. Life finds a way. The dinosaurs change their sex from all female to male so that they can breed. He has a big impact on the movie as a whole. So I wouldn't say he's just comic relief. He is a very funny character, but he plays a lot more than that.
The fact that you're talking so intensely about this character, I can tell you believe that, and I agree. He's a very important part of the thing. And he does have that one weird sexy shot where he's just laying there for no reason.
The glory
with
shot.
His shirt wide open. If you've never seen this, put Jeff Goldblum sexy Jurassic Park, you'll see it. It's just an odd scene. I'm not complaining about it, but it's almost like, oh, like they motioned him up, and it's like probably the sexiest Jeff Goldblum ever was in his life. And you almost had like a gasp when you saw that.
I love Jeff Goldblum. It's just, he along with the character is just so encapsulating. He's just, I just recently, as I've told you, I recently saw for promotion of Independence Day 2, because they're bringing him back, the developers actually have a mural of Jeff Goldblum, including that painting of him spread out like he's in Jurassic Park, and it's something that I definitely would love in my house.
We'll have Corda try to find that for YouTube listeners so you can see the picture come up. We'll see if we can find one that's not illegal to show.
They will not be disappointed.
Because some people might think that should be illegal to show, but no, he looks good. It's just a very funny... It almost is like the Top Gun scene with the volleyball playing, where suddenly we need homoerotic volleyball players. Anyhow, Jurassic Park 2 and 3, you've already said you love Jurassic Park 2.
I do.
I think it's entertaining. We just watched it recently. Real recently. I still think I enjoyed the third one better, and I know a lot of people are groaning right now with that.
Me too.
But there's so many problems in Jurassic Park 2.
I'll tell you the biggest problem with Jurassic Park 3.
Steven Spielberg was doing... Oh, sorry.
If we're going to get on a debate about this, all I have to say is a 12-year-old kid managed to somehow procure a bottle of Tyrannosaurus Rex urine.
Spoilers.
Spoiler
if you're afraid
alert.
of the urine scene.
You don't get to see the scene, but when he's found, he has it, and he says, oh yeah, the other dinosaurs stay away from me because they don't like the smell of it too much, because they're insinuating that they're afraid of it. I want to know how a 12-year-old kid not only knew how to get close to a T-Rex without being spotted or heard, but managed to somehow stand under him while he's taking a piss.
No, I see you're getting too technical, because he's whipping his dick out pissing wherever. He probably pissed on a leaf or something.
But he can't collect the juices from the leaf.
Sure, if it rains. I'm sure when a T-Rex pees, it's not like dribble, dribble. It's like, fire hose.
I just have to interrupt real quick and say this is the classiest show I've ever been on.
You've been on a lot of
piss.
these classy shows. No, but you brought up the piss, so what are you going on? But no, you could have scooped it up in a leaf. It's not like he's going in the corner, all shy, the T-Rex. I don't think he was standing underneath it.
Well, I just have a problem with the fact that a 12-year-old kid he can survive on an island, whereas in the second one, all those badass mercenary hunters get wiped out.
Well, Spielberg is my big problem, because I think we talked about this, he was directing, I want to say Amistad, or one of those other Schindler's List, maybe, when he was doing this?
I think it was Schindler's List.
So he's doing double Dutch duty.
He did that when he was doing the original one, Schindler's List.
Okay, so it might have been Amistad, or one, he was doing one of his, because he was doing, entertainment film thing. And then he was doing like his Oscar-nominated one. And I think he kind of dropped the ball, because there's so many just horrible parts in Jurassic Park 2. At least Jurassic 3 enjoys its horribleness. And I always said if I met Spielberg, my question would be, all the questions I could ask Steven Spielberg, I want to say you always rag on Jaws 2, and Jaws 2 is a much better film than Jurassic Park 2.
I am leaving because that is insulting.
I didn't insult you.
I will agree with you. We obviously have spoken about this, but the whole city sequence in Jurassic Park 2, that should have been the third movie.
Yes.
I believe you and I agree this seemed very rushed and obviously did not make a lot of sense in some instances.
Yeah, rewatching it again, I hate the fact that they tack on the T-Rex coming to the city. They should have ended it, and Jurassic Park 3 should have been the T-Rex totally coming after the city. I think it would have set up nicely. But my biggest problem with Jurassic Park, they didn't deal with the first island, and then suddenly, hey, we have a second one.
Yes.
How bad? Like, that's so bad. That's like Willy Wonka having a second chocolate factory. Even though that would be illogical, because it's a factory.
Well, maybe when Jurassic World comes out, we'll find out how they took the island back over, because they're going back to the first island. So maybe it'll really explain.
Well, I am definitely, it's one of my most anticipated movies of the summer. Obviously, it's yours too. And I enjoyed talking Jurassic Park. We're going to wrap it up there, and then we're going to, I was going to say go further back in history, but I think dinosaurs beat gladiators. But we're going to talk a little bit of a TV show that kind of bonded Damian and I. Before we bonded through heartache, we bonded through our cocks raging on. That didn't sound good. The TV show Spartacus, we're talking about that, and we're going to stop talking now, and we'll see you in just a few minutes. We are back, and we are here, me and my co-host, Damian, and we are going to be talking about a TV series that we both love. This was probably the first time we really bonded. I remember we talked about this show at Target. I think it's a show that does have a lot of love, but I think it could have a lot more. I really think more people should see this show. And I'm talking about the show Spartacus, which is now complete. It's done. I think it ran 3 years in a mini-series. I still consider it 4 seasons, but I think they say 3 in a mini-series. And we love Spartacus so much that we are sitting here in gladiator outfits while we do this, and we might wrestle after this is done. You're okay with this? Normally you're like, shut up!
No, it's true. You're telling the truth. I've got my loincloth. I'm ready to go.
I would not be doing a podcast if you were dressed in a loincloth.
We just gotta grease each other up first.
Oh, Lord. I wouldn't be able to concentrate. I could not. I would not be concentrating. Now, Spartacus is about the gladiator days. What era are we talking? Because if I try to say what era, you're going to give me shit, because I'll say, I think it was from 1953.
Yeah, okay.
When gladiators
I don't think they were driving around in hot rods with their leather jackets.
Well, I don't know. I could have swore one of the episodes had Yakety Yak playing in the background.
I'll pretend like I know what that is.
Yeah, shut up. You're not that young. You will feel like me one day.
We'll see. But now historians are probably going to kick me if I say this wrong, but I'm going to just ballpark it. I'm pretty sure the series takes place. I know it's the Roman Republic.
Yeah.
And I believe that's in around 100 to 0 BC. Okay. 100 being further back in time, because back then it counted down. So it went 100, then 99, then 98, yes. And so on.
Sorry, I thought you knew that. I didn't mean to put you on the spot.
No, that's fine. I normally would. It's just I can't seem to remember right now. But I know it's in that ballpark area.
Well, I'm sorry I put you on the spot, but if anybody wants to complain, remember the name is Damian. That's with an A, not an E at the end there. Just make sure you get the hate mail to the right person.
Just so everybody knows, he has a gun to my ribs right now, and I'm under a lot of duress.
For all these people who are listening, they're picturing us in gladiator outfits, me with a gun on you, and you with, like, wax or grease or wax. What's going on?
I hope it's not wax.
Well, let's talk about that a little later, because Spartacus is... I actually have talked to a couple people about Spartacus. You're the only one who I really bonded with. But a lot of people, I don't know for you, took me an episode or two to get into this show. The first episode I watched, I wasn't sure I really liked it. It's very 300-ish with the gore. And it's almost like the gore is like artistry. But for some reason, the first couple of episodes didn't win me. And I'm glad I stuck with it, because it was just amazing as it went. How about you? Did you love it at first sight?
To be honest, I'm trying to think back of how I actually discovered what Spartacus was. But I do remember watching the first episode and being like, this isn't that great. I'm not really enjoying this. But I found a lot of TV shows that I've come to love have been like that, where I haven't really enjoyed the first episode. But then I watched the second episode, and I could not stop watching after that. I just immediately fell in love. And being a huge fan of history and the Roman Empire, Roman Republic in particular, obviously I did have an interest in what was happening, and I'm a big wrestling fan, so Gladiators, very similar to that, and so I'm interested in that sort of thing. But yeah, the first episode really didn't do much for me. So I'm glad I stuck through it, because obviously it is a great series overall.
So if you take our recommendation to watch it, give it a couple episodes, because I've talked to a lot of people who said that the first couple are tough to get through. But it's well worth it. Lots of plot twists. We won't give any spoilers here, or at least we'll try not to. But lots of plot twists, lots of screwing, lots of fighting.
Screwing.
Yeah, and the first season was still my favorite. But the other seasons were just as good. I thought they were good. I had my issues, but like any show, we all do. Now, Spartacus had a sad tragedy because the lead actor died after the first season. And then they kind of did a mini-series because they didn't want to give up on the show. And then they recast it. Were you okay with the recasting after a while, or did it...
No, because I had watched it, I believe they were just finishing the second season or beginning of the third season when I first started to watch it. So I had no idea that the main actor there, Andy Whitfield, had died. When I watched the first season, I fell in love with him as Spartacus. I thought he was great. And then when I went into the miniseries, which I found it was a prequel to the first season, He actually hadn't died at that point when they made it. He was recovering, and they thought, oh, he's recovering, he's going to make it, so we'll give him some time to rest during the miniseries. But then near the end of the miniseries, he unfortunately did pass away. And so when they brought in the new actor, Liam McIntyre, to play Spartacus, I didn't like him at first, because not only was the way he spoke differently, obviously his voice was different, the way he carried himself was different. He was not the Spartacus.
He was very different.
He was not the Spartacus, exactly. He wasn't the one that I had fallen in love with, the one I enjoyed watching. But then I understood what had happened. I understood the need for the new actor, obviously, because you can't have Spartacus without a Spartacus.
Yeah.
So, but then as Liam McIntyre grew on, I was like, wow, now he's beginning to be Spartacus in my mind. I mean, he's doing such a great job, and I eventually did fall in love with Liam McIntyre as well.
Yeah, we should mention the name of the other guy. It was Andy Whitfield, I think it is. Oh, did you mention? Okay, sorry, I wasn't paying attention. I was looking at you and your gladiator outfit. Basically, yeah, I agree with everything you said there. What I liked that the producers did, though, was I liked that they didn't try to cast an actor that looked like the other guy. Instead, it seemed like they still went for somebody who could act, who had his own presence, and they said, well, he doesn't really look like him, but I think they knew he would win people over eventually. And if they just went for a look-alike, I'm glad they didn't, because if they just went for look-alike and not being able to act, I think it could have been a mess. And you need a guy who can inspire armies and inspire people who wouldn't normally fight, because if you just had some guy like, hey, hi, I look like the old guy.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, when Season 2 was first introduced to me and I started watching it, I found him and obviously I was going into it with a lot of bias, because I was disappointed that Andy Whitfield was taken away from me, and I couldn't see him anymore, and so I was going a lot of bias. I'm not going to like this new guy. I'm not. Yeah. And then
bought it.
So when I first started watching the second season, when he was introduced, I was like, oh, he sucks. I hate this. I don't like him as Spartacus. But then I realized as it went on and I started to get more attached to him, they did choose a right person to play Spartacus, because he is very captivating and very energetic and eccentric. And
I would have picked up a sword for him.
Definitely. Absolutely.
I always might get sick of it when we watch it, because I always talk about his eyes. He has got the most... I don't think pictures do him justice. Some people look great when you get a photograph. Other people, you have to see them moving around on screen, and then you see their essence. But sometimes, I'm not saying he's not a good-looking guy in pictures, but he's just... Both actors were really good for the part. And their casting is amazing on this show. Like Lucy Lawless, I watched a little bit of Xena. I totally forgot
she was Xena. Know that was Lucy Lawless till I looked up the cast list, and I was like, where have I heard that name? And I used to watch Xena as a kid, along with Hercules and Sinbad and all those shows. And I was like, wow, this is Lucy Lawless. I
can't remember the guy who plays Batty Artist. Is that right?
Body Artist.
Yeah, it's like John Hammond, I want to say. No, that's the guy from Jurassic Park. Damn you, Jurassic Park!
The guy from the Mummy movies.
Yes, John something. I apologize.
I can't remember.
He's wonderful in this. I always thought he's kind of whiny in the Mummy series, and he rocks as the villain in Season 1. And, it's a great show. And all the seasons are different. They're their own entities. Mm-hmm. Now, I've always joked, maybe a little bit too much, that if I could go back, people ask me, if you could go back in time, where would you want to be? And I used to say World War II, because I think there was an urgency in life.
Where would you like to be in World War II? I think that's a more important question.
I want to be a USO girl, okay? And I blow every soldier that I met, because they're doing their duty. You heard it from me. But you know what? After I saw Spartacus, I think I want to own a house of gladiators.
You want to be a...
Right.
Okay.
And my dream now is to open a gladiator school for wayward boys. Like boys, legal boys.
Legal boys?
God, this is getting worse and worse.
This is getting weirder and weirder.
I know. I just think I could love those gladiators. Because they casted some beautiful men that... You can tell Spartacus is a popular show because they're churning up on all these other shows now.
Yes.
Mostly the Arrow and the Flash. So I'm guessing the producers of those shows were big Spartacus fans.
Well, I haven't watched Arrow or The Flash, but I do have to admit that a lot of the actors from Spartacus are really, really good actors, and I'd love to see them more. Manu Bennett, for example, who plays Crixus. Love him.
Yeah.
He's phenomenal, and I want to see him more.
He's on the Arrow. A good chunk of season 2.
I did not know that.
No, I'm not kidding you. They have had Manu Bennett on there. They had Liam McIntyre on there. They've had the guy who played, I believe his name was Ash. He was that
Asher?
villain. Yeah, Asher. He was on there. They must love this show.
They must.
Yes. I'm a big fan of Jai Courtney. He had a weird hairdo.
I love Jai Courtney.
He had a weird hairdo, but I can forgive that now. And you know what? I didn't even like him. I liked him as a character on Spartacus, but I couldn't get past the Harpo Marx hair. Pretend you know what that means.
Yes, of course.
And but now I go see every movie he's in, and now I look at it again, and I thought, I guess I could get past I'll call it the early Justin Timberlake hairdo, and then it doesn't sound like Harpo Marx.
I call it the Mr. Noodle hair.
Yeah, but do you really... We were talking about we have to wax each other up, but not wax, oil, grease, yes. But there must have been some waxing on that show. You're telling me there weren't hairy gladiators? Everybody is, shaved within an inch of their life.
Nobody has body hair at all.
No, maybe some of the older councilmen or something. For those of you who haven't guessed, I actually started watching Spartacus because it was hot guys. I am a shallow person. There's only a few TV shows I can think of that do not have hot guys that I don't watch. Golden Girls! No hot guys on that show. Well, B. Arthur, maybe.
Well, Betty White's pretty good looking for her age.
She's not a good looking guy.
Well, true.
She's a hot mama. How did the Golden Girls show up? Everything ancient in this episode. This is our ancient issue. Anyhow, but I watched the show because of that. But I don't mind hair on bodies. If you don't have it, that's fine. But there must have been a person who literally was shaving those gladiators.
Now, and again, if there are any historians listening, they might want to kick me for this. But to my knowledge, the gladiators, when they were in a ludus, and a ludus is what they have in Spartacus, which is a gladiator school. That's what they call it. When they were in a ludus, I believe they had to follow the will of the person who ran it, and I can't remember what they're called right now, but it's possible that because Batiatus wanted to portray himself as powerful and through living vicariously through these gladiators, maybe he wanted them to look perfect, and so he had them shaved down.
Could very well be. Not to mention they were always they were always presented as a Greek Adonises and stuff. Roman.
They're not Greek.
I know, but you know what? I'm glad you're here to make me look stupid. He's talking about all this, history. I'm like, they're hot! I like the show! They're hot! No, but honestly, it's a good show. Still, I won't give away anything. Some of the most heartbreaking spoilers that I've seen, like plot twists that had my jaw on the floor. The violence is... I could handle the violence because it was very, not cartoonish, but like the 300 movie, but they get gory and gorier as they go. They're trying to top themselves. Even Mike said, this is getting crazy. It's it's good they only ran for 3 seasons because they would have had to really go overboard with some of this.
Some of the gore is a little over the top, but I do like the art style when it comes to it. You pointed it out to me not too long ago with a slow-motion head rolling through the wind as the blood comes out of the neck.
Oh, yeah, it's beautiful. I shouldn't be, happy, but I'm oh, this is artful. If I die violently, I hope it's artful. Oh, that's a horrible way to leave this. But anyhow, I strongly recommend Spartacus. I know you do too, I'm sure.
Absolutely. I'd live and die by Spartacus.
Yeah, so if you've not tried it and you're one of these binge-watching people, put Spartacus on your map. It's a really good show. If you can get past the violence, you got a lot of sex also to back it up. And it's worth that. Damian, I can't believe it's gone by so quickly, but we are actually very close to being at the end. Any final words?
Well, I would obviously like to do the whole stereotypical, oh, thanks for having me on the show. It's been a great pleasure. Hope
You
have me
are...
back.
One thing I know about you is you're anything but stereotypical.
Stereotypical, I like
well,
that.
stereotypical.
But honestly, I've just had a great time. We've spent a lot of time sitting here recording it, and it's felt like 5 minutes. I've had a blast, and hopefully one day I'll be asked to come back.
You want your own show. That's what you want.
I do. You know what? I'm gonna have a spin-off.
A spin-off.
Damian's barbarian emo show.
You just have paleontologists come on and
the
talk about...
spokesperson will be Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah, you probably could have some interesting guests on and stuff in that. But, I hope you do come back. I had a lot of fun talking about these topics, and we will see you. I'm lost. I'm confused here. All these gladiator things. I'm going to have to go and watch Gladiator.
I'll go take it off for you.
Well, now I have to go. Anyhow, thank you for listening. I appreciate all the comments you've been sending me and everything. If there's anything you want to hear me talk about, hey, send it my way. You never know. I can ramble on about just about anything. Anyhow, thanks again to Damian, and I will talk to you all very soon.